Hey guys, Monte Tiger here, and I'm bringing you a game of Homefront. Now, this match is like a game of domination on, say, Call of Duty, and like Sector Control on Medal of Honor or Battlefield Bad Company 2, where there's 3 points, you get to take them over. What's kind of cool about this one though is a little slight variation on the theme. There's rounds, there's 2 to 3 rounds, depending on it's the best of 3 basically. In this round, we lose the first one, but we win the next 2 to win the game. So you'll see like the points will actually move around, and then they'll come back. So take a look at that. My first impressions with the game are the game feels like MAG, Battlefield Bad Company 2, and Medal of Honor had a baby. All 3 of those got together. They had an orgy, and then pop out came Homefront. Graphically, it's not bad. I mean, I don't know. I can't say it's better or worse than, say, Call of Duty or Medal of Honor. It's just different, It's a game. Here's what it comes down to. While I was playing it last night, I got a lot of messages like, "Hey, is it worth the money?" So I guess what I'll say is that it reminds me of Bad Company 2 in that it's worth it for me because it's a nice change of pace. I know I'll probably always play Call of Duty games because that's what the majority of people play, but from time to time it's going to be nice to like jump back to, say, like Battlefield Bad Company 2. Every now and again I'll jump on that, or I'll jump on to Homefront now. I haven't really gotten into the storyline, the actual first player game, but from what I understand it's pretty good, and it's written by like Hollywood writers, so we'll see. I think the best thing to do would to be just look at the gameplay, and you can decide for yourself whether or not you like it. That's really the only thing you can do. I watched a couple of videos, and I knew that I was going to buy it before the game even came out, so I decided that, hey, look, I'm going to pick this up regardless. And when I went to GameStop, they had a used copy already, so I was like, oh shit. So I mean, it was like 48 bucks, instead of 60 bucks, so I saved some money, but it got me thinking, like, man, is this game not as good? I know Woody gave it a really bad review, but I'm not going to give it a bad review. It's not a bad game at all. It really is. The maps are huge. It's very Battlefield Bad Company 2-ish, where you have to do a lot of running around. The spawns are kind of like it, where you sort of fall into the map. Yeah, it's just you're gonna have to take a look at the game and decide for yourself if you like it. I like the game. Is it gonna be a game that I'll play more than Call of Duty? Probably not, because it's not as fast paced. It is like I said, like a Battlefield. If you like Battlefield games, you'll probably like this game a lot. If you don't like Battlefield games because they're too slow and there's snipers and it's wide open and there's nowhere to hide, then you probably won't like it. So that's really my piece on it. I think what I'll do later on is sort of maybe a more in-depth, because I only played for about an hour last night, so maybe I'll get into a little bit more and figure out the pros and cons about it. But so far I'm liking it. So far I like the M4 over the ACR. The ACR's got a lot of recoil by comparison to the M4. So and I'll break down that stuff a little bit later. I actually want to talk about something. I was talking to Make Believe XP last night on Skype. And I said I had a really interesting story because I was asking him about the Navy and stuff, and I told him I'm really apprehensive about going back, to possibly going back in service because I had a really bad experience at MEPS. And he's like, "What? Why were you at MEPS?" And I said, "Well," I told him I was thinking about doing a commentary about how I was almost thrown out of MEPS, and he said, "Okay, well, just don't tell me about it then, because I want to hear this commentary." And I said, "Okay," but I told him a little bit about it. But anyways, here's the backstory. A couple years back, my older brother wanted to get, he was in the Air Force, back in the early 2000s, and then so a couple years back, he wanted to become a pilot. So he thought the best way to do that was to join the National Guard and, be a helicopter pilot. And I encouraged him because when he was at a junior college, he changed his major almost every semester. It was like accounting one year. He's like, well, I can make a lot of money as an accountant. And he goes, well, I want to get into business, but I want to be an accountant. I want to get into... Anyway, so he went back and forth on this, and I said, hey, look at me. I went and I spent a lot of money at a private photography school. I am now at a junior college. I'm not really doing photography anymore. I'm got a associate's degree in theater arts, and I've changed that major to history. Follow what you want to do. Don't follow any sort of plan that other people have for you. And I told him, I don't know if anyone else has said this before, but I came up, I just one day, I think I woke up in the morning and I had this dream, and I woke up and I was like, I had this saying stuck in my head that you have nobody to impress but yourself. And I sort of live by that, you know. I don't try to impress anybody else. I'm always trying to impress myself. So basically, it's like you work hard for you. You're not working hard for anybody else. You know, you take pride in what you're doing, and you do the best you can. So basically that, and the fact, and you can translate that into any other thing, such as like changing jobs. If you don't like your job, you really don't like your job, you know, people, you don't be worried about, you know, the idea that people are going to say, hey, well, why'd you leave such a good job? You know, you could have stayed there and make money. Like, I hated my job, and, you know, it wasn't great, you know. So anyways, don't worry about what other people have to say, basically, is what it comes down to. That's what I told him. So he decided he was going to re-enlist and join the National Guard. And so I had actually been thinking about the Guard myself, you know. They have some student loan repayment programs, which are really awesome, and I could certainly use that. And so, I'm saying money was not the only incentive, but I mean, it was definitely a bonus. And then on top of that was the fact that, you know, I was at the point in my life where I felt that I should have served my country, you know, after September 11th. And I'll link you guys a video to a video response I did to one of Topher's videos about September 11th. And so I was at that age where I'm like, I think I should do this. I really want to. So I went through the whole process, and then, you know, went to the recruiter and everything. And I had this recruiter, Sergeant First Class Cook, and she was awesome. She went above and beyond for me, even though what I was getting into was called the Enlistment to OCS program, because I had 90 college units at the time, which was required as the minimum to get into that program, because the Guard, I think the Guard is still short on officers. And, you know, I grew up the son of a Marine, and he was a sergeant. You know, he retired as a staff sergeant 20 years in, and I saw the ups and downs that he went through, and the struggle my family went through to, you know, keep food on the table and everything for 3 boys, and the struggles it was for us to do stuff like playing baseball and, you know, just getting stuff. You know, we were like the poor family on the neighborhood, and so I just, if I was going into the service, I was not going to be doing that. I would go in as an officer. I just knew that from when I was a kid. And so yeah, he says Sergeant Cook did all this work. She went above and beyond, even though she wasn't going to get any sort of monetary bonus for getting me in, as far as I understand. And so the day I go down to MEPS, you know, the night before, I stayed with my buddy Tom, who's a Navy officer. He's a naval officer. He was a 03 at the time. And he had this plan to go out as a helicopter pilot. So he had all these helicopter pilot friends. They were going to go out and do a poker night downtown San Diego. So I was like, okay, cool, yeah, I'll go with you guys. And so I had signed up to be an officer in an artillery unit in the Guard up in this town called Azusa. And so anyways, I go out to dinner. I mean, we go out down this guy's place, and we're drinking and stuff. And I'm like, I can't drink that much because I got to get up. And these other 3 or 4 guys who are all helicopter pilots are just like, my buddy Tom's like, oh, Tony's going to MEPS tomorrow. And they're like, oh, going to MEPS, all right, awesome. They're like, what are you going to be doing? And he goes, my buddy Tom's like, he's going to be an artillery officer. And they're like, no, boo, be a pilot. They're all pro pilots and everything. So it was a lot of fun, you know, the jazz and just the jeering and, you know, just that sort of camaraderie that even before I was in the service, they had these, you know, sort of a growing friendship among these officers, and then me being a potential officer. It was a lot of fun. And so anyways, we drank, didn't get drunk. We went back to my buddy Tom's place, slept on his couch. I got up like at 5 in the morning, and he was up too because he had to go to work, and so we were both up, and I think he had a little bit of a hangover, and just I wasn't feeling 100%, but I was definitely not. I didn't drink enough to get drunk, and so I went down to like a 7-Eleven. I was really tired because we got back like at 3 or something. It was really ridiculous. I mean, he apologized later on for it because he knew it was not the best thing to do. But I went down to MEPS, and I think I stopped along the way at 7-Eleven and grabbed an amped energy drink. I think I took an Excedrin for a little bit of a headache that I had, and I go. And so the process went very smoothly. It wasn't like a painful process up until that point, you know. Like they followed us in. I mean, they had these lines, colored lines, and they're like, follow the colored lines, and they had all these rows, and you had to go by your social security number. Basically, you were just a number there. And so anyways, they bring us into this room. There's like 50 of us, and they're like, okay, so how many of you guys are officer candidates? And it was me and I think maybe one other guy. And okay, you guys are gonna check commissioned on your things, or check commissioned, and maybe it was only me. I don't know. I can't remember that. I just remember there's a lot of guys, and there were a lot of young guys, and they're all going in there listing in various services, various branches of the service. So anyways, so then they tell us, don't go anywhere, don't do anything unless we tell you. And so, okay, yeah, whatever. So then basically they break us up. They're like, they took people and they're like, okay, you're gonna go in the blood line, you're gonna give blood, you're gonna go in urinalysis line, you're gonna go do eye and ear, you're gonna go do talk to the doctor. You know, they broke everyone up. And so I was standing in line to go do one of these things, and this kid really had to pee. And so he asked this guy, he's like, hey, can I go in the urinalysis line? And the guy goes, yeah, sure. Who worked there, you know. And so he steps in the line, and this other guy comes over in this green polo shirt. I remember this guy to this day. He's a big dick. And he walks up, and he notices a kid in the line because they had put so many people in there. And he goes, what are you doing in this line? And he said, well, I really have to go to the bathroom. I said, what do we tell you at being? He's like, not to go anywhere? He's like, yeah, and don't go anywhere unless we tell you to go somewhere. And so that first instance, I was like, I almost said something. I was like, oh, I was a hair close to saying, hey, look, your guy told him to go over there because he asked him. So I was like, you guys need to get on the same page. So I'm like, check one. They're not even on the same page. And then let's see here. There was all the other, some of that stuff was hard to do. You know, it's hard to take a piss in a cup when someone's watching you. There was a meat gazer, you know, and then giving blood. It wasn't hard to do. It's just I'm not a big fan of needles. But this is where my problems came in. Oh yeah, I should tell you about this doctor. There was this doctor, he was asking all sorts of questions, you know. Oh, do you take any medications? No. I said no. He said, well, I take Claritin for allergies. And he's like, well, how many times? You know, he's asking these questions, and I said something, and he goes, I'd like a yes, sir. And I'm like, what? And he asked me another question, and I just kind of looked at him like, yes. And I just went on. I was just like, you fucking kidding me? I'm not going to give you a yes, sir. I'm not even in the military yet. And I'm not trying to be a rebel. It's just the guy said it in such a dickish way that I just couldn't help but, you know, not give him what he wanted. And that probably later came back to bite me in the ass, because there was this thing, they took my blood pressure and it was kind of high. And then they were like, oh, well, we're going to do this like ear exam. And they're like, oh, we need to do an ear cleaning. And so basically what happened the rest of the day is I'd have one guy telling me that I needed ear cleaning, and the nurses were telling me that I needed to sit down and do my blood pressure stuff. And so it went back and forth for hours. You know, it's going here and there, and sitting in these different places. And this guy comes over, and he's like, what are you doing here? And he was kind of a dick about it. And I said, the nurse told me to come here for the ear cleaning or whatever. No, we need to get your blood pressure squared away. And I said, hold on. I said, you guys need to get your shit together, because I got the nurse telling me to come over here. You're telling me to go over there. I've been running around back and forth all day long. And I'd been there since like 6 in the morning, and it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon now. I've pretty much had it. And he's like, what did you say? I said, you guys need to get your shit together. And then I had one other guy come over, and he's like, don't you be swearing. And I'm sitting down. They're like trying to, like, I don't know, mad dog me or whatever. And I told him, exactly what I just said. I was like, you guys telling me to go to different places. You guys need to get your shit together and get this figured out. And I was kind of surprised how forceful it was about it. And so then this guy in this green shirt, it was this guy in the green shirt, I call him the buff fucking two-striper. He was this like E2, just like fresh out of basic training Navy guy. Thought he had like the power of the world. And of course this one like Asian doctor who barely spoke English. And I don't even think he was a doctor. He was just a guy wearing a white lab coat. He wasn't even a doctor. So anyways, that goes on for a while. I get my blood pressure taken a couple more times, and then finally, you know, it was super high because I was all just kind of like not pumped up, but I was just a little pissed off. And so basically the guy, the butt fucking two-striper guy, was like, oh, he's like, you better watch your language or I'm gonna throw you out of here. And I just kind of laid into him a little bit about it. And so I backed off and I apologized, and this one doctor who wanted me to call him sir got involved, and they all sort of had a powwow together. And it was decided that I was disqualified to join the service because I had high blood pressure. They said I had pre-hypertension, and that disqualified me from joining the National Guard. So I don't know where my life would be if I would have gone through this entire process. I would have, you know, sworn in that day and had a date to go to OCS, and who knows where I'd be right now. But I should have talked to the captain who ran MEPS. He said he had an open door policy. Come see him. I stormed out of there. I was pissed off. I was like, these motherfuckers, you know, they treat you like dog shit, and this is your first impression of the military, and they treat you like dog shit. And I thought that was like, you know what, that's not even right, you know. These are people who are volunteering to go in the service, and it's not even like they're not even in the service yet, and they're treating them like shit. So I thought it was more of like a customer service issue that should have been addressed, and I should have talked to this guy. I didn't, but the lesson learned. But anyways, yeah, that's my story of almost getting kicked out of MEPS, and I'm gonna give you a more detailed analysis of Homefront later. I just didn't want to do it to like a 15-minute video. So anyways, you guys take it easy and have a nice day.